Good afternoon, everybody. It's Simon here from careermap.co.uk, and welcome to our third live session today for National Apprenticeship Week 2022. This session we're joined by the guys from Zurich, and we've got some exciting stuff to talk to you about, and some of the topics they're going to be covering today will be an introduction to Zurich, insights into the insurance industry, an overview of their apprenticeship opportunities. You'll hear from some of the current apprentices. They'll give hints and tips on their application process, and there'll be time at the end for a Q&A session. So if you have got any questions for the team, please feel free to pop them in the chat box, and we'll run through them, as many as we can during the Q&A session. So without further ado, I will pass you over to the Zurich team to start their presentation.
Excellent apprentice and graduate schemes.
Flexible benefits to support me and my family.
You get time to volunteer in your local community.
Doing the right thing for our customers, for our employees and for our communities.
At Zurich, we know that family matters.
A company that acts with integrity and keeps its promises to its customers.
Learn new and exciting ways of doing things.
We are on a journey to protect our customers and our planet.
We are kind to ourselves, our colleagues, our customers, our communities, and our company.
Hybrid working environment to blend your personal and professional lifestyle.
I get to be me.
There are opportunities to expand and enrich your experiences beyond your role.
You can learn and develop across 4 different areas of the business.
Our people are more than just a number.
You can gain recognised qualification. I just got mine.
My hard work's been recognised by senior members of staff, and I've even been nominated for an award.
Zurich nurtures and expands your talents.
We value what makes each other unique.
We share the same values.
We share the same values.
There's something new that's happening every day.
Creating an event so that young people have a platform to raise the important issues that are affecting them.
I am Zurich.
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 Thank you, everybody, and a very warm welcome to our session today. We're really delighted to be spending the next hour with you. We're grateful for your interest in the company that we're really proud of. Hopefully, seeing that video, you get that sense of pride, and you'll feel more about that later. And then in the next hour, we'll share a bit about the history of our company, a bit about what we do, and a bit about the 2022 apprenticeship program. And you'll also hear from colleagues, apprentices in 3 areas of our business. Let me start by introducing myself. My name's Steve Collinson. My pronouns are he, him, and his, and I'm the Chief HR Officer here at Zurich. I'm a member of the LGBT community, and I proudly bring my whole self to work every day. I've been at Zurich for quite a while. More about that later. As we go through the next hour, we hope that you get the sense of what a truly amazing organisation we think Zurich is, and you feel inspired to progress an application with us. I really believe that you have the opportunity to build a great career here. So a bit about our company first. At Zurich, we are all about and proudly believe in creating a brighter future for our customers, our partners, our amazing team of Zurich people, and for the planet by providing products and services which have a really positive impact on people's lives. We want to be one of the most responsible businesses in the world. In the UK, we provide 2 main types of insurance that help to protect people and what they value the most. First, we have a suite of general insurance products for businesses and individuals that cover casualty, motor, property and travel insurance. And second, we provide life insurance and pension products to individuals and to corporate customers. Our customers include individuals, small businesses, and mid-size and large companies, as well as multinational corporations. And we insure in one guise or another a large proportion of the businesses that make up the FTSE 100 index. We insure everything from homes and cars to small shops, cafes, medium-sized businesses, and then to organisations like Next, the M25, Wimbledon, and many companies that operate all around the world. We employ over 4,000 people here in the UK, and we're present in a number of locations. Now, while we're talking about opportunities here in the UK, we do have a Swiss name. We're part of Zurich Insurance Group, which is headquartered in Zurich, Switzerland. It won't surprise you to know, where we were founded in 1872. And I think I can really safely say we're really proud of both our Swiss heritage and the multinational footprint we occupy. 2022 is the 150th anniversary of our company and the 100th year that we've operated as Zurich in the UK. And as a group, we're one of the world's leading insurers operating in 170 countries. Now, when you think about careers in insurance, you might think, or you might know very little about what we do. You might have made some assumptions. Whilst it's true to say that you could join us and find yourself working in our underwriting teams who help us to assess and price the risks our customers present to us, or in our claims team who talk to our customers at some of the toughest times in their lives, you might be surprised to know about the other things that you could find yourself doing. You might be part of our finance team, my HR team. You might help us to build software robots and automated solutions to the challenges we all face at work. You might become a data analyst, a data scientist, an actuary, an engineer, a marketer, a software developer. You might be a business analyst, a project manager, a relationship manager, or one of the hundreds of different types of roles we have at the firm. I don't want to overburden you with job titles, but I do want you to know that an apprenticeship at Zurich could lead you into a world of literally hundreds of possibilities. And whilst you'll be applying to work in the UK if you decide to, many of our colleagues have worked at Zurich offices all around the world. I've worked for the firm in the UK, in Switzerland, in Poland, in Canada, in the USA and in India. And I currently work alongside talented people from Asia Pacific and all across Europe and the Middle East. As well as fantastic career opportunities, we're a bunch of people committed to the communities we live in and the planet too. So we have an in-house charity, the Zurich Community Trust, which I'm proudly chair of. And together, Zurich people volunteer over 8,000 days in the community to help those less fortunate than ourselves every year. Every year, we donate about £2.5 million to charities. And in terms of the planet, we're cutting down on paper and single-use plastics, using 100% renewable energy in all our offices, and planting thousands and thousands of trees on behalf of our policyholders. Those are just some of the actions we've taken, as well as making a commitment to remove all petrol and vehicle diesels from our company car fleet in the next 3 years. We're working hard to make Zurich a better place to work for the widest range of people, and in the last few years, we've really modernised our culture and seen our employee engagement soar. We've made a commitment to becoming more diverse, but to us, diversity and inclusion isn't about PowerPoint slides, it's about action. And if you've taken a look at our career pages, you'll notice that every job at Zurich is available part-time, as a job share or full-time. That's just part of our approach to making our firm more accessible to anyone and everyone. We've also equalised all family leave here at Zurich, so anyone who becomes a parent gets 16 weeks fully paid leave, and we encourage people to take every single day of it. I'm just about to start wrapping up and handing over to Sophie, my colleague, but let me just tell you, if you were to join us, you'd be part of our hybrid workforce. We've recently made a commitment to all of our people that they can spend around half of their time working remotely. So you get tremendous flexibility and the ability to balance and blend your work and your home life. We're pretty sure that all these things are why we recently secured a coveted spot in Glassdoor's top 50 best UK places to work. And the competitive leader in me means I have to tell you that we're the only insurer on that list. Finally, I think I said at the start of this presentation, I've been at the firm for quite a while. I joined Zurich at 16 years old as an underwriter. I've worked in pretty much every part of our business, and today I find myself in my dream job as Chief HR Officer. I'm living proof that you don't need a degree from a Russell Group uni or anywhere else for that matter to work, thrive and get on here. I hope you enjoy the rest of today's session and you feel inspired to join us. Sophie, over to you.
Excellent. Thanks, Steve, and really appreciate your insight there. So welcome, everybody. Delighted to see so many of you on the call. So just to introduce myself, my name's Sophie LaRusso, and I'm the Early Careers Advisor here at Zurich, and really keen to speak to you all today about the fantastic opportunities that we have available. So as you'll have seen at the start, we shared a short video on why our employees are proud to work for Zurich, but we wanted you to hear firsthand today from some of our current apprentices. So just after me shortly, you will hear from Mariam, Lewis and Isabeau about their experience in the various teams that they currently work in. But needless to say, there are so many more opportunities than what we'll talk about in this short session today. So we will share details of where you can find access to our vacancies as well. So I just wanted to begin my session by telling you a little bit about Zurich's UK Apprenticeship Programme. So we started our apprenticeship programme back in 2014, and we'd like to think that we're pretty good at bringing apprentices into the business after having run our programmes for so long now. We recruit across all of the UK in various different locations. I can see some questions in the chat about the different locations. So again, we can share some details of that for you later. We welcome all apprentices from age 16 plus into our business. So our minimum requirements for our apprenticeship programme are in England, a minimum of 5 GCSEs or equivalent at grade C or 4 and above, including maths and English. And for those of you up in Scotland, a minimum of 5 nationals at grade 5 grade 5s or grade C at your GCSEs. And for our Scottish apprenticeships, you do need to be under 19 for our levy funding. But for our UK apprenticeships, we accept anybody 16 plus is welcome to apply for our programmes. We offer a range of apprenticeship programmes across different levels, all the way from level 3, which is equivalent to 2 A-level passes, all the way up to our degree level apprenticeships at level 6. We appreciate that the transition from school and college into working in our business can perhaps be somewhat of a tricky one. So we have buddies and coaching support on hand to help you guide your way through as you join us. Apprenticeships, no doubt you'll be aware, are a fantastic opportunity to earn as you learn. We really think that it's a great way to have an accelerated development programme into your chosen career path. So there's lots of reasons why an apprenticeship is a great alternative to university, and some of our apprentices later on will share their experience with you as well. Insurance is so much more than you think, and as Steve mentioned, there's such a broad range of roles available across our business, and I think it's really important to highlight that fact. So in terms of the apprenticeship, naturally you have your job role, you have the role that we'll be teaching you and developing you in, and as I mentioned, it's that earn while you learn opportunity. All of our apprentices come in on a permanent contract, and you will receive all of the same employees that any other Zurich employee will gain, all of the same benefits. And we also offer a really competitive apprenticeship salary, and details of the individual apprenticeship salaries can be found on their specific job adverts. So we advertise all of that for your awareness. In terms of the qualification, naturally, the biggest part of studying an apprenticeship is that qualification and professional development alongside your role. So Zurich will fully fund any professional qualification relevant to that job role, and we provide you with that 20% off the job learning as well, which means that we give you time during your working week to support your study towards your qualification. So moving on then, if I now hand over to Mariam. Mariam was a previous apprentice within our Zurich municipal team, and she's here today to talk you through some of her experience.
Hi guys, can you hear me okay? I was having issues before, so just want to make sure you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Excellent, thank you very much. So yeah, like Sophie said, my name's Miriam. I joined Zurich Municipal. Well, I joined Zurich 5 years ago. I joined with 4 other people, which was very valuable for me. We could compare notes and past experiences, and it was a learning journey together. So we still had that element of classroom training. So doing apprenticeship for me was really beneficial. I'll never regret it, and it's something I'll always promote. I've got one of my younger brothers doing an apprenticeship with Zurich as well, and I'm promoting it everywhere and anywhere I go. I just think it's so important to be able to implement knowledge that you learn like off the book in your day-to-day role. I think it's a really good way to build up your experience quicker, and it's more practical as well, like Sophie said, and you're able to implement your daily learnings into your job, and it's not just pure knowledge based thrown at you. You're able to build them talents up and them skills, and honestly it 100% boosted my confidence as well. I just think I'm so much more confident in being able to talk to stakeholders, being able to talk to customers, being able to talk to like different colleagues and managers, and building up rapport and networking as well, and being able to be within a work environment where you can have a taste of different areas. So in my apprenticeship, I was a claims apprenticeship in motor, and I had so much support from my manager. I had weekly study sessions, and I also had time allocated away so I could revise as well, and for my exams as well. Within the department I was at, there was a CII champion, and she helped me a lot through understanding the coursework. If there was anything on the webinars that I didn't quite fully understood, she always was there to help me. So I'd just book in some time with her and I'd say, look, I don't understand this, please can you tell me? And she'd tell us. So yeah, so from a support kind of side, it's 100% there. I built a plan with my manager. We said, okay, by this date, we're going to have this done. By this date, we're going to have my exam done. And it just meant that I was on course and I was able to complete my apprenticeship within the time that was allocated to myself. So since I've done my apprenticeship, 3-4 years ago, so it took about 1.5 to 2 years to complete. So since 3 years ago, I've been a variety of different roles. So joining Zurich, this is actually my 4th role. So I've been able to experience different sectors of the business. I've gone from claims to underwriting to the digital deployment team, which is like an enhancement team for the overall company. And then back into underwriting. So I've been able to taste different areas of the business and also build up my talents and skills and implement different things from different areas of the business into my current job now. So it's really, really helped. Please can we move on to the next slide? There, thank you. So Zurich Municipal is actually slightly different from the rest of the business in the sense of kind of underwriting. So maybe I'm not entirely sure if you guys know what underwriting is, but I'll give you a basic overview. Say you have a house that is on a flood, is next to a river, and you have a house that's on a hill. Obviously, the one that's down next to the river is more likely to flood than the one that's maybe on the hill. So in insurance underwriting, what we do is we'll assess how risky something is and determine how much payment we're going to make in terms of claims, and allocate a premium for that client. So that's just one example of one of the lines that we do. So we offer insurance for car, fleet insurances, public sectors, casualty employees, so all different areas of the business. Within Zurich Municipal, something that really separates it out from the rest of the company is that we deal directly with our customers. So we're able to build up rapport and really make a difference within our customers' lives. So a lot of our customers are probably people that you'll see day to day. So your local councils, we'll insure them. The NHS, we'll insure them in different lines of the business. Schools as well, a lot of the schools that you'll go to will be insured by Zurich Municipal. So we'll be providing insurance and really supporting our customers through our hard times, in terms of claims, in terms of underwriting, in whichever way we can. And I think for me, Zurich Municipal is a very caring and giving insurance sector to be in. So In terms of my day-to-day role, what I do is I look at different clients, like I said, and see how I can offer insurance terms to suit their needs, building relationships with them. So we have regular customer calls with them and discuss their renewal terms, find out how Zurich can really adapt our business to support them in their times of need, and help them within their business as well. Something for me is something that I really enjoyed about Zurich and my roles previously and now is how flexible Zurich is. So I'm able to get up in the morning and go to the gym if I want to go to the gym, and I can still get my work done, and I'm still able to, go to all my meetings and talk to my manager and really have a good relationship with my manager in my day-to-day roles. I just think Zurich is very, very flexible depending on your business area, and your managers will always do as much as they can to help and support you. And I think as it said in the kind of video at the start, is Zurich really understands that you're at home and in a hybrid way of working, and there's life needs that need to happen, and being able to have that work-life balance is just so important for me, and I don't think you'd be able to get it any elsewhere. But we was one of the highest people in the employees as well, so yeah, that's one thing that I really enjoy about Zurich. And what surprised me the most about joining Zurich was the amount of support. So in my head, when I first started as an 18-year-old student, I wasn't aware that we'd be able to get support from managers, and we'd be able to build a plan. But when I joined, everyone was so friendly. I would never be scared to approach someone to ask for help, and our colleagues never let anyone knowingly fail, so there's always that support network there for you, and that's just one thing about the culture here at Zurich, which I really, really like. But yeah, that's me. I don't know how it's going to work in terms of questions. Sorry, I missed the start. Are we going to do a Q&A at the end, or are we going to ask now?
We'll do some questions at the end, Mariam.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mariam. And handing over now to Lewis.
Hello, I'm Lewis, and I'm going to be talking a bit on my role as a underwriting apprentice in real estate. So within real estate, as a underwriting apprentice, I work more specifically in the major customer team, which means that I'm dealing with a couple of accounts in the UK, and these can be like housing estates. Like one of them is in Kensington, or it can be a portfolio of properties that are scattered all over the country. And in terms of my day-to-day work, it is very varied. It can be things from checking documents, quality checking them, making sure they're okay and sending them out to clients and customers. Or it can be getting involved in some actual underwriting as I kind of develop my skills to become an underwriter in the future. So that's really good to be building up that experience in kind of the early days of my working career, as I started in September straight from sixth form, and whilst the majority of my work and my working day is spent doing the things I mentioned that are actually related to the role, there's also opportunities to kind of get out of the office and go out on surveys with clients. So that's why I actually did that yesterday. And you get to go and look at a property firsthand and weigh up the risks as you're seeing it, rather than just kind of what you see on maybe Google Maps when you're looking at it, to assess the construction and the location, etc. And that's really good because whilst I love being in the office, it's good to experience as many things as possible. and get out and about, and especially to develop relationships with clients and customers, as that is a major part of what we do. So in terms of my view on the apprenticeship, I'm completing the level 4 DIP CII at the moment, as I started in September. So yeah, I'm currently in the process of completing mine. And when I was looking for an apprenticeship myself, I saw the term "earn while you learn" kind of thrown about quite a lot when talking about apprenticeships. And it wasn't until I started the apprenticeship I realised quite how valuable that was. It sounds like an ideal scenario in your mind, but it's really when you're working and you're also getting the qualifications. My worry was that I was going to miss out on the kind of university experience. Whilst I didn't want to go, you kind of get that social life in uni that's a bit unlike anywhere else. But it doesn't feel like I've lost anything, because I'm getting a qualification, just like my friends at uni would be, and I'm also earning money. And then the social life, especially since I work in central London, is really good, and it's unparalleled, really. So that's another bonus for me. With the apprenticeship, you get lots of support in terms of from your manager, from my apprenticeship coach. It's really good, and everyone's always looking to help you. As Miriam said, you can never ask a stupid question, or you can always approach someone and they'll be willing to help you no matter what it is, whether they know about it or not. If they don't know about the area, they'll try and find an answer for you. So that's really great. So far I have found it challenging, but it's manageable. You know, if it wasn't challenging, I'd be worried. So that's another part I've really enjoyed. And then on the last slide, I just thought I'd finish up with my favourite thing about Zurich, and that is that everyone around you is there to help you progress, and everyone wants the best for you. So they are constantly helping, constantly looking to help you develop and further your career, and they will go out of their way, just your colleagues, whoever it is around you, to develop you more. Because especially from my perspective, I had no previous insurance experience coming straight out of sixth form, and I'd never done underwriting before. And everyone around me is so keen to help me learn so that I can progress as quickly as possible, because they really do want the best for you, and it's very very valuable, especially in the early days as I build up my experience in my career. So I think that is it from me.
Thanks, Lewis. If we can now hand over to Isabeau. Oh, I don't think we can hear you, Isabeau. Sorry, Isabeau has been having some technical issues. Perhaps, Isabeau, whilst we try and sort that out, if we move on to the next part of the webinar. So just while Isabeau is fixing her technical issues, in the essence of time, we'll move on to talk a little bit more about the recruitment process, and also give you some insight into what that looks like and some hints and tips from us. So in terms of our application process, we start with the online application. So this is where we'd have a look through our website, have a look through our different opportunities, and we will pop a link to that in the chat for you, so that you can be directed to our opportunities. But you'll need to select one role in particular that you are interested in, and it's worth considering that all of the roles are based from different locations. So that will obviously factor into perhaps some of your decision making. But when you have decided which role is of interest to you, you then need to submit your online application. There'll be some very basic questions around some of your eligibility to see if you meet our programme requirements, which we discussed at the start of the webinar, around the GCSE requirements. For some of our degree level apprenticeships, there are some additional A-level requirements as well, and details of that can be found in the job adverts for you. If you pass the minimum eligibility, then you will then shortly be invited to complete what we refer to as a situational judgment test. So otherwise known as an SJT. So an SJT is a list of hypothetical questions that are really designed to understand how you might approach different situations in the workplace. And you'll be asked to rank those from most to least effective. And normally an SJT is quite a key part of a recruitment process, because the questions that you're asked are typically aligned to the approach and behaviours that we would expect employees of Zurich to adhere to. So that somewhat gives you an insight, hopefully, into the values of Zurich as well. In terms of the next stage, if you did pass the SJT, then you would move on to complete our online test and video interview section. And we'll come on to talk about this in a little bit. And then off the back of that, our final stage of the process would be a final stage assessment. And that would be an interview where you would meet with members of the business area that you've applied for a competency-based interview. And we'll give you some hints and tips for that shortly. So just in terms of the SJT, this is just an example for you. So as I mentioned, you'll be given a series of questions and 4 different possible responses. And then, like I mentioned, you would need to rank them. So this is an example for you of what it might look like when you come onto the screen. And the great thing about if you head to our careers page is there's also an opportunity where you can practice these tests as well. Appreciate this may be new for some of you and can be quite daunting. So there's the opportunity to practice ahead of doing the real thing and just getting yourself familiar with what that looks like. In terms of the video interview and online game section, so the video interview would be done in your own time. So this isn't where you would meet with anybody else. This is where you independently would record yourself for the session. Again, this is just a little bit of a screen grab from what that would look like for you. And there's a number of questions. You get a number of attempts to answer each question. So we're not expecting your first attempt to be perfect. But the video and games element are timed. So it is just worth mentioning that if you did require any sort of adjustments, then we would obviously be happy to accommodate those. And we just ask that you declare or let us know, and we'll do our best to make those adjustments for you. It's really important that everyone has the fairest opportunity to complete each element of the process. So the video assessment is also combined with some games, and this really is to assess some of your cognitive ability. And again, here's just some screen grabs for you of what that might look like. So in terms of our sort of, I guess, top hints and tips, again, on our website, we also have some hints and tips videos for each stage of the process that you can refer back to when you get to each element of the process. One thing that I think is really important, some key tips, particularly when you're doing your video interview, is making sure that you have a plain or a blank background as possible. It just allows us, when we're watching those videos, to really focus on you and your answers and what you're talking about. Particularly, this becomes quite relevant when you get to the final stage of the process, but it's thinking about what are your motivations, why would you like to apply to Zurich? What is it about us that hopefully has made you want to submit an application? We'd be really keen to kind of hear that from you as well. Research is key, and obviously you're here today hearing about Zurich, so hopefully that's given you that insight into our business, but just having that understanding of who we are, what we do, what we stand for is also key to the recruitment process. As I mentioned, making use of those practice tests, particularly for those of you that perhaps haven't come across these different aspects before, would be really key. And you might just want to practice as well, talking in front of a camera. Just trying to get comfortable in that setting is really important. The more you can relax into it, the better. We absolutely recognise we're not looking for the finished product. So, don't worry if you feel it perhaps didn't quite go as well as you thought. And being authentic, I think this is a really sort of key part to the process. We want to see your personality. We want to hear about you and your different experiences. So really take this into account as well. So in terms of our application timeline. So our applications are open until the 20th of February, and what I'll shortly do is pop a link to our website in the chat for you so that you can go and explore the different opportunities that we have to offer. And obviously, as I mentioned, there's lots more information on our website as well. If you did pass all the minimum eligibility, then quite swiftly after that, we'd be looking to ask you to complete the SJT. And then, as you can see, we've then documented the next steps for you as well. And we're looking to wrap up and make some offers by the end of March. So in terms of our process, that is it in a nutshell for you. I'm not sure if we've got Isabeau back on the line to go back to her presentation.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you. Excellent. I'm going to go all the way back for you.
Gone for the headset, 3 pairs of headphones later, we're there.
We're there. Excellent. I'm going to head back to your slides for you, and if I can hand over to you, that would be great.
Of course. Okay, so bit of a busy slide here. I went for pictures. So just an overview of my role when I was doing my apprenticeship. I work in finance in regulatory reporting. So I joined back in September 2019. I've been here almost 2.5 years now. I joined as a finance apprentice, and I was in what was called the month-end team when I joined, studying towards my level 3 advanced diploma in accounting. So what my role involved, it was mainly the review of a section of our income. So that involves analysing differences and providing commentary off the back of that. I also completed reconciliations. So this just involves checking the amount of money in your accounts, just how you would on your card, on your banking app. And also looked at lots of projects for improving my current processes while I was in my role. So I joined with Kaplan doing my studying towards my apprenticeship in March 2020. So Kaplan is the study provider that I used, kind of like OCR or AQA. You might recognise those from A levels or GCSE. So first I had to complete 4 technical exams. So these are all computer assessed, which was great because you get your exam straight afterwards. There was a bit of a delay in sitting them due to COVID, obviously. So I sat my first one in November 2020 and completed those in May 2021. I then started on my synoptic assessment. So this brings together all of the knowledge you'd learnt in your technical exams and also brings in a bit of ethics. And you do a spreadsheets exam along with that just to test your Excel skills, as it's very important in finance. So alongside that, you start your portfolio, which was in May 2021. This is just effectively a big bit of coursework. You answer several questions on your role and you write about tasks that you've done. It seems really daunting, but I promise when you come to write it, it's quite natural, as it's stuff you've done. You're really familiar with the topics that they're asking you about. So that's also covered in your professional discussion, which is just an hour conversation with an external assessor. There's a couple other bits you have to do as you go along, but everyone's really supportive, and your study provider will support you through the whole process. With Kaplan, you have someone called a talent coach assigned to you, so they keep up to date with how you're getting on and everything, so you don't have to worry about that. I've really enjoyed the scheme. I think it's been very beneficial, especially coming straight from college. I think it gives you that structure. So it really makes sure that when you're working through your development, it's all going towards your role and also your future career. So it's not only the technical knowledge that I need for my day-to-day activities, but also those business skills and the transferable skills that you can use going forwards. So I just thought I'd mention some of my achievements so far. So I have actually finished my level 3 qualification now, and I did finish my apprenticeship with a distinction, so I was really happy about that. I also completed something called a Lean Yellow Belt certificate. This is something that Zurich offers sort of outside of your day-to-day role, and it's all to do with process improvement. So you kind of run your own mini project, and you can choose it. This was totally optional, and they teach you techniques to work through how to improve the process, basically. So I got to reach out to different stakeholders within the business, which was good for sort of learning how to manage people within a project. So that was all going towards my KSB tracker, which is knowledge, skills and behaviour, which you do throughout your apprenticeship. My managers also nominated me for the Rising Star Award. So that's with the Regional Apprenticeship Award. So that was quite exciting. You can see it's with the lightning strikes on there. So that was quite cool. Yeah, so overall, I think apprenticeships are a great way to gain the practical experience. Like Lewis said, earn while you learn is just the classic phrase, and it's so true. And I also agree, I haven't missed out on any of the social side because I still go out with my friends that all go to uni. So you don't have to worry about that. So yeah, moving on to my aspirations going forwards. I'm now working towards my level 4 professional diploma in accounting. I actually sat my first exam on Wednesday. Very similar format to my level 3, which is nice. I've also applied for the LEAP program, which is another optional thing within Zurich. That is one thing with Zurich. It's kind of endless, the amount of opportunities you can get involved with, where it's such a large organization. We have a platform called Workplace where you sort of share different opportunities, and LEAP is actually an international program. So if I'm successful in getting on, I'll be talking with people from all over the wider Zurich network. So that's really exciting. Yeah, so my favorite things about Zurich, it's just the people, really, simply put. I wouldn't want to move anywhere else for that reason. I think I'll be with Zurich for the foreseeable future. I just love the culture and the opportunities outside of your role. Like I say, already I've done my yellow belt and I'm looking at LEAP, and there's lots of different groups. So we have Zurich Community Trust, which do charity events. In summer and at Christmas, we do a festive challenge within our team. Which is really fun. You get to go out to your local charities and help them out with things such as gardening in the summer or putting up Christmas decorations at Christmas time. So that's really fun. And I'd also agree with Mariam about the flexibility. I mean, being able to fit my studying and the gym or lunch with friends around my working hours is really good. So yeah, don't know if there's any questions or anything else anyone would like to know.
Thanks, Isabeau. That was a really great insight into your role there. I think that is everything from us. I can see we've got a fair few questions in the chat. Something I was just keen to cover off is just a point to reiterate that our apprenticeship opportunities are offered on a permanent basis. And that would also mean that you would be entitled to all of the other fantastic benefits that all of our other employees are entitled to as well. So just wanted to clarify that. Simon, I think we're ready for some questions.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, quite a lot of questions coming in, so I'll start from the bottom and try and work my way through as many as we can, really. Great presentation, guys. Hope everyone found that really informative and insightful. So, yeah, I'll start off with Darren. This is a question directed to the apprentices. I mean, he says, are apprentices given, lots of responsibility pretty much from day one? How do you feel? How do you cope with that?
Isabeau, Lewis, Mariam, do one of you want to take that question?
I'll take it if you want.
Yeah.
So I think from my perspective, I mean, I've been here since September with no insurance knowledge or experience at all. And as you know, I think they've given me as much responsibility as they can. Whilst you need authority to make kind of the higher decisions, and that as I mentioned, I've been involved in underwriting, which Miriam explained, and that's to do with kind of assessing a risk and making your own view on it and kind of justifying that. So I think that's quite a bit of responsibility, because 2 months ago I would have looked at something and say a building, and they would have said assess this. I wouldn't have had a clue what I was doing. But as you get more experienced and as they train you up, the responsibility does start to ramp up. And even yesterday, I was talking to one of my colleagues who she's really good and kind of helps develop me. She was talking about how she's going to try and apply to get my authority level ramped up. So for starting in September, I'd say that's quite a big increase in responsibility already.
I think just to add on to the back of that as well is your manager knows your capabilities and they'll know like what you can do and what you can't do. So your responsibilities will always fall in line with the new authority, like just previously said there.
Thank you, guys. There's a few questions around work experience. Is that something Zurich offer? And it's a two-part question, really, because Lisa said, so when you're applying, how much work experience would you need to sort of put on your CV?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So at the moment, Zurich don't offer necessarily any direct work experience. It's definitely something that we're keen to look at. In terms of how much you need, we absolutely recognise that for most people applying to our programmes, you'll be fresh out of school or college. So naturally, your experience is somewhat limited. So I think when you're going through the interview and the video interview in particular, it's important to think a little bit more broadly about some of the experiences you've had. So, are you part of any clubs? Have you been part of any maybe societies? Have you done any volunteering? So it's important to think more broadly in terms of just work experience. Obviously, work experience is great to have, but it's not the be-all and end-all, particularly at this stage of your career.
Do you offer work experience, like taster days, anything like that?
We don't at the moment. We have done a couple of occasional insight days, and obviously hosting sessions like this. It's definitely something we're looking to explore.
Okay, great. We always get this like questions about where you're based, the locations. Have you got a list, or are you in the sort of key cities? How do you guys operate as a business?
Yeah, absolutely. So our apprenticeship opportunities at the moment are in Swindon, Fareham, Farnborough, London, Birmingham and Glasgow, I believe, are our key offices that we're recruiting for this year. And as I mentioned, if you go onto the website, on each of the vacancies, it will tell you the different locations. So obviously that will become a factor in terms of where you might like to apply for. And some of the roles are based across multiple locations. So hopefully that broadens the option for people. But those are our key locations for 2022.
Is there opportunity for travel then on apprenticeships, or even after you've finished your apprenticeship with Zurich?
Yeah, so some of our apprenticeship opportunities, there is perhaps a requirement to travel, particularly if your team is based across various different locations. Again, that just varies from role to role, but it's something that is definitely, there's an option to do that. Thanks,
Sophie. And a lot of questions we get asked to about, so what happens after the apprenticeship's finished? Is that it, or are we guaranteed a job? Do we have to reapply? What is the process there? I think people are quite unsure about that.
Yeah, it's a really good question. So our apprenticeship opportunities are offered on a permanent basis. So once you've completed your apprenticeship, you would roll off into your kind of permanent role that we've recruited you into. From there, if you had slightly different aspirations, then we encourage people to apply for roles internally at that point. But we put such an investment into our apprentices in terms of their development and their qualification that naturally we really hope that you would stay with Zurich and find, a really long and fulfilling career. So that's absolutely our intention with the apprenticeship programme. And that's the reason we offer it on a permanent basis as well.
Thanks, Sophie. Interesting question from Gabby. She says, where do you see the company going in the future? Are there any challenges you're facing?
That's a really good question. I'm not sure if Steve is still on the line. That might be one for Steve. He may have dropped off. Do any of the apprentices want to perhaps talk about some of the challenges in their current business areas?
Yeah, is there any emerging technologies, or how do you see the business evolving?
Yeah, I don't mind talking a bit about this one from a finance perspective. So at the moment, there's a lot of projects in the pipeline around IFRS 17. So I didn't know what that was, so I'll explain to you what that is. It's basically a new set of finance regulations which will change the way that we report our figures, so the way that we do our calculations, the way we post our numbers, the way we present our figures back, and that's all due to change as of 2023. We also have Brexit happening, so there's a lot of changes with the business we can write around that, as Zurich's actually changing from being a branch under Ireland as a ZIP branch to being a ZIC branch, so there's a lot of changes around that as well. I think for going forwards into the future, from like a wider Zurich point of view, I think I always am very interested in all the environmental work that Zurich does, so towards sustainability, and that sort of links to Zurich's maybe longer term strategy. So there's a lot of different things going on working towards sustainability in the future with Zurich as well. If anyone wants to add anything.
No. Think we're good. Okay.
I was just gonna say, yeah, sorry. So I was just gonna say we do have focus teams as well across different areas of the business. So like in mid-market, we have a mid-market team, and what they'll do is they'll review. It was one of the teams that I was previously on called the digital deployment team, and what it basically does is reviews systems and processes throughout the entire business or the area that they're in, and think about how they could potentially streamline and make things better for the business, so that we're providing a better customer experience, a better customer service, and just fulfilling our customer needs, and internally for stakeholders as well, for like different areas of the business and employees as well, how we can potentially look at their systems and look to make things better for our own employees. So there's always different teams within Zurich that are continuously trying to improve the systems and processes. And we've got digital deployment team, we've got a continuous improvement team, we have an automation team. There's so many different pockets of this the business that look at making things better for customers, employees, and just everybody really.
Thanks, guys. The question we've had over and over again this week during Apprenticeship Week is, obviously, with an apprenticeship, it's a job, it's study, it's everything. How do you guys manage the workload? Do you ever feel daunted, overwhelmed, out of your depth? How do you manage that? And so, what support mechanisms are there for you?
Yeah, I'll take this one because I've been there. So in terms of the workload, for me, when I started my apprenticeship, but what I did was arrange a session every single week with my manager, and say, this is what I need to get out of this week or this month, and this is what my target is for the end of the month, and this is how I need to get there. We then construct a plan together, and allocate time, allocate time for whatever task, whatever coursework, whatever piece of revision I needed to do. In terms of, thinking you haven't done enough, if you feel like that there's online material that are like mock tests, and I did a lot of them to kind of get a gauge of where I was, and how I could improve, and my kind of gaps in knowledge as well. And like I said earlier, we did have a cert CII champion as well, and because she had such a breadth and depth of knowledge, she was able to assist me in my gaps of knowledge. And I've now moved on to doing my diploma, so when I'm doing my diploma now, I have a lot of support from my manager. And what we do is we'll get together at the end of the month and we'll say, right, okay, we've done this piece of coursework. Now's time for the next piece of coursework, and he'll advise me. In terms of hours, we always get, in the apprenticeship, I used to get half a day study every single week, and I found for me that was enough time to do my revision, and to complete any coursework as well. So it wasn't too much time taken up outside of work, in that it was affecting my social life. But obviously everyone works a bit different. So if someone does want to invest a bit of time, I genuinely don't think it would hurt in the long run. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Brilliant. Yeah. A really good question from Zach here. He says, and this is to do with the interview stage. Are there any weaknesses, if you get asked about your weaknesses in an interview, would Zurich consider an instant rejection?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, not had that one.
And I'm going to start by saying I don't like the word weaknesses. I would say development points is more what we'd be looking for you to talk about. And no, I don't think there's anything that would be an instant rejection. I think if anyone asks you this question, regardless of if it's Zurich or elsewhere, would be, are you self-aware of where your areas of development are and what are you trying to do, I guess, to improve on them? That's really what those type of questions are designed to assess. So I can't think of anything that could be an instant rejection, but I think it's being self-aware enough to know where your areas of development are.
Great answer. Thanks, Sophie. Sarah says, hi, are there any sales roles available? Sales apprenticeships with Zurich?
Oh, there aren't actually. It's not necessarily something that we've offered before, I don't believe. Our sort of main areas that we're looking to recruit in this year are claims and underwriting, but also data science, our operational IT functions, customer service, but not sales. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Thanks, Sophie. I suppose this might have to be the last one before we wrap up, and this is to the apprentices. Great question. What made you choose Zurich?
I'll take this question. So, little background story for you. When I was actually looking for apprenticeships, I was in a pub with my mum. We basically decided I didn't want to just stop and do nothing after college, so I looked for things that I would be interested in. And maths was something that I loved, so I decided to look at finance apprentices. And the main thing that actually drew me to Zurich was the customer focus. And that was purely because I thought if an organization cares about their customers as much as Zurich does, then you're going to be well looked after as an employee. So, yeah, that was the main thing.
Would the other two like to add any comment?
Yeah, I like the especially in my role, I liked the opportunity to get to develop relationships within the team and with in the insurance market with clients, brokers, etc. And in the short time I've been there, there's always been a lot of opportunities. You might go out for lunch with your team and you'll meet someone down there and they'll introduce you. So there's a phrase, it's not what you know, it's who you know, and I feel like that's quite big, and I kind of enjoy that aspect of it.
Excellent.
And I think for myself personally, similar to what happened with Isabel, I was talking to my mum about it, and I think as a person and as part of my religion as well, it's a big thing for me to be able to help other people, especially those in need. And while I was checking out, which kind of jobs to apply for, I noticed that Zurich has such a large hand in helping different charities, going out and doing charity days like Isabel mentioned earlier, and I've been on one every single year. So you actually get a charity day every year. I think it's 1 or 3, but I could stand corrected. But I went out, obviously not in COVID, but when I first started, within the first 2 years, every single year on a day we did a team day, and what we did is we went out to like a local park and we just helped maintain the park, or we did a charity fun run and raise money for different charities. And I just think, like Isabel said, if a company takes care of its customers and its charities and its community, then it's obviously going to take care of its employees as well. So for me, it was more about how much it invests back into the communities and different people who are in need of help.
Brilliant, thanks guys. Okay, Sophie, so obviously there's quite a lot of questions left. Is there any way the guys can ask the questions, maybe email, your social platforms, anywhere like that, if they haven't been asked today?
Yeah, absolutely. Really keen to have an opportunity to answer all of the questions. So if anyone wants to get in touch, either please connect with myself on LinkedIn and drop me a message, or you can email our centralised early career inbox, which is earlycareers@zurich.com, and I'll pop that in the chat for anyone that wants to get in touch after this session.
Brilliant. Any parting words you want to leave to the attendees today, Sophie, before we go?
I just want to thank you all for joining us. Delighted to see so many of you here, and hopefully that's given you an insight into Zurich, the insurance industry, and our programmes. And yeah, we hope to see your application soon.
Thanks, guys. Really good. And just to say, the session's been recorded and will be on the on-demand section of the National Apprenticeship Week.co.uk website, hopefully later today or early next week. So you can refer to it there anytime. Just say a big thank you for everyone for coming today. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you soon. Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you.